The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Television. The original broadcast date is December 39th, 2020. January 8th, 2021. Does everybody remember the dumpster fire that was 2020? Good times. Good times. Anyway, so yes, just go ahead and pull, now, go ahead, well, okay, throw it over there. My co-host tonight is the lovely and talented Chad Harlan, and we have Beverly McChesney coming in as pinch hitting for Patty Mullen, who was our scheduled guest, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, except I just wanted to make sure everybody saw the post she put on Facebook when she canceled. Apparently, people are getting so sick of doing everything virtually that now they're afraid that doing it virtually will actually give them COVID. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But bring everybody up. Go to everybody there. Bev, thank you so much for doing this on short notice. Fortunately, we had you booked already for the after party. And I want to say, your after party has been the most popular based on new subscribers thus far to date.
Great news. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad to be here.
And of course, Chad had already thought I'd switched how I did the show just because we had a glitch. One episode and did it on Zoom, and he thought that we were just going to just throw years of design work out the window, and...
Yeah, you can tell this is all finely oiled.
Well, it's pretty to look at anyway. Of course, I'm not even going to, we are definitely not going to talk about everything that's went on this week, but here, Bev, okay, now, before we can get into the interview, believe it or not, I have done something positive since the first of the year. I have come up with a meditation cheat to keep me in a positive mental state.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing, but it's just like 2021 to just go, let's see if we can get a rise out of old Wesley. But so far, despite everything, I have, other than the dark day earlier this week when I think every empath in America went, what the hell is going on? And I felt it at 1:00 and I was at work. I mean, it was that bad. But anyway, anybody who's watching this 20 years in the future, look it up. Google it. Google the first week of January 2021. You will be amazed. Okay. First thing I want to ask Bev, now of course everybody, Bev is a psychic medium / all kinds of stuff, a business owner. She's got all these irons in the fire. But now tonight she is doing our Scarefest Radio after party. For details, go to patreon.com/Scarefest Radio. Actually, no details. You got to join, then you get details. But okay, so you're going to do a Zoom gallery reading. Now, is this one of your usual messages from the universe galleries? Is that how you do when you do these online?
Well, let me tell you, I have never done a Zoom one.
Oh,
this will be the first. This will be a first. I do Zoom readings all the time, individual readings, but I've not done a gallery. So this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. At a live gallery, I encourage everyone to ask their questions as quickly as possible, because the faster the gallery goes, the easier I get the answers. But this is going to be an interesting experiment. It's going to work well, I know that, but it is the first one I've ever done. And
See,
so in
now-
a gallery, basically everybody can ask a question and we'll see what answers we get.
I'm actually surprised you haven't tried this yet, because you do the Facebook readings all the time where you just say, everybody ask me a question. You've got 10 minutes where I'm doing the first 10 questions or whatever. Now, based on the feedback you've gotten from that, are people, of course, you don't get personal questions on that, so I guess you can just pretty much make up anything you want on those.
Sometimes I open it to personal questions too. I don't do that very often because, well, like I opened it to personal questions yesterday or day before, and I said, we'll take 30 questions. Well, we stopped at 68. I cut it off at 68. So because 68 is a whole lot of questions for me to be in the zone and answer. And what these are, people get to ask one question, boom, we get an answer, we see what it says. But I usually do non-personal ones, A, because the answers are really fascinating, and B, I get to learn something too, because I get people to ask questions that I can't ask myself or answer for myself. So those are a lot of fun.
Well, I'd say the questions have gone up with all this stuff going on with the pandemic and stuff. I'm sure a lot more people have questions and wonder what's going on and are looking for some insight.
Well, I did one thing and I posted about it. It's on my Vessel of Spirit page somewhere, but I actually talked to the virus and had a conversation.
Wow.
I was sitting around one day and I thought, I talked to everything else. Wonder if I can talk to it, because all things are alive at some level. And so I did. It tells me it's getting ready to get out of here in about 4.5 months. That all the pieces will get out.
That's roughly what I predicted. So, me and COVID agree. Basically,
as it is right now.
My theory, hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, is okay. We're starting to get people vaccinated. That's going to help. Last year, whether people wanted to admit it or not, because it was still out there, it just didn't drop as vociferously as we thought it would. Warm weather helped, because you can get out of the house and get out in the fresh air. And unfortunate, of course, then everybody's, I thought the sun was going to kill it. You're still inside, fuckers. You're still in the air conditioning. Everybody's going, I can't believe all those people go to the beach for vacation. And I'm like, they're on the beach like 1 hour a day. The problem is the other 12 hours a day, they're sitting in a bar drinking pina coladas next to Rosie from New Jersey. And but I figured, okay, warm weather's going to hit, and hopefully everything will kind of coalesce into a reduction of it until by fall, hopefully this thing is just absolutely off the radar.
Well, if you want to know, I can tell you what it said, but everyone would think I'm crazy, and I really hate that, early on in the show.
If we disallow crazy on this show, there goes my entire guest list, and definitely all my co-hosts. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, he loses me immediately.
So what it told me is that it is not of this earth. It's actually an alien life form, and that it was drawn here. It feeds anger and hatred and fear, and we were just glowing with it. And it said, hey, there's a planet that's right for the pickings.
Now,
and here it is.
You want to know the sucky part of what you just said? I watched a couple of documentaries about the whole alien disclosure thing. And if neither one of them comes out and says it, it was, I'm trying to remember, one of them is called the Fifth
Element.
No, not Fifth Element. That's sci-fi. It's the Contact of the Fifth Kind.
Of the Fifth Kind.
Yeah, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and then the actually the one that came out before that is called Disclosure, I believe. Is that right? No, the Unacknowledgement or something like that. But anyway, they're both made by the same people. They have similar themes. But if you take what is said in both of them and put it together, you come up with a great cabal, whether it's earthbound with the aliens or aliens by themselves, that just really want to piss us off to the point that we can't work together, and then come in and just do whatever they want.
Well, it also said that, okay, so it said once it was here, then the universe or God or whatever word you want to use, said, hey, we got this virus here. Let's use it to do something. Let's use it to teach something. Let's use it to heal something, to change something, to make people aware of things. Let's use it to make people be still. So the universe says, okay, let's work with this virus. Virus says, we don't care. We're just here for lunch. So that's kind of how they explained it to me. And they're getting ready to head out. So I know, sounds crazy.
I so hope you're right. The
alien life forms aren't all little grays.
All we have to look at is what's in front of us. And I was telling my mom just the other day, I'm so disgusted with society, but not just recent events. When I grew up, if you wanted to fight with your neighbor, you had to go fight with your damn neighbor. All of us basically tried to get along because we didn't want him showing up and burning the barn in the middle of the night. Then internet and social media came along, and first it was just, well, the guy in Pennsylvania is not going to come get me. We'll just start an argument. And people started arguing on the internet, but they really tried not to piss off the people that they have to go to work with and the people that, now with COVID, we don't see anybody. We don't have to interact with anybody face to face.
We don't have to, yeah.
And so I'm seeing that progression, and yes, it is totally based on the shit show that is current events. And I'm trying to figure out, A, what we can learn from this, and B, how do we get ourselves out of this?
That's a good question. And the reason there's not a simple answer is because everybody has free will. Everybody has perspective. Everybody has opinions. And how you get those to coalesce is just, that is a universal miracle. If you can get enough people to agree to enough things, that becomes the reality. Because we do create our own realities. And if enough people think the same way, then that is what will be manifested in this reality. Now, I told someone the other day, it looks like, to me, lately, it looks like two parallel universes blending over top of each other because people are so divided and they see things so differently. They're looking at the same things, but the perspectives are just off the chart. So how you get enough people to want that enough that they all focus on that, or that's what they desire, that they shift it. If 65% of the world says, we think this virus is gone, this virus would be gone. That's how the universe works. That's how manifestation works. Sounds simple, not so easy. But everything is energy, everything is vibration, every thought is manifest, every word is manifest. So if we're all saying the words, we're all going to create it. The secret is how to get everybody to do it, or the trick. The trick is how to get everybody to do it.
And on those words, we're going to hop over to our first commercial break. Everybody, you're watching Scarefest TV. Our guest tonight is Bev McChesney. We'll be right back.
Spirit Mechanics is here to help. Their background includes many different specialties across the metaphysical spectrum, including alchemy, shamanism, Celtic witchcraft, angelic magic, astral travel, and more.
With over 30 years combined experience in the group, you can be confident in their ability to help. If there is a question you have that you cannot answer, they will do their best to assist you.
Metaphysics can be intimidating, confusing, and unfortunately, abused. Spirit Mechanics takes pride in being selfless in the pursuit of helping others, being humble and honest with their clients about their questions, and lastly, maintaining a professional and personable atmosphere. They want you to feel as you are coming to a close friend, and they will do everything in their power to make you comfortable and safe.
horror, movie, fans, for life. Find us. For news, for memes, for life.
Hey, this is Joe Lewis at Bonehead Weekly. Welcome back to 2021. I mean, I don't think it got here yet, or anyway, it's already a shit show. So excited that Wes has Patty Mullen on tonight because she's in one of my favorite Frank Henenlotter films. I hope I said that right. Frankenhooker. Let's talk a little bit about Basket Case 2, 3, Frankenhooker. If you've never seen Basket Case, it's a movie from '82. Frank wants to be called an exploitation filmmaker more than a horror filmmaker. And what it is this man has a basket that he carries around with him that may contain his Siamese twin. Gets worse from there. He is an exploitation filmmaker. So, for example, the movie Patty's in, Frankenhooker. Guy meets a girl. They fall in love. Tragic accident. She becomes a Frankenhooker. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that. I love the scenes where he takes a drill trying to... The more left unsaid, the more you'll enjoy the insanity of it. He's a med student. He wants to put his decapitated girlfriend, fiance back together. And what does he use? Well, what would any of us use? That's right, hookers, to make this Frankenhooker. Patty's got a great performance in this movie. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the film. I also enjoy his film Brain Damage. You should check these out. Actually, Basket Case, if you have Shudder, and Frankenhooker are both available on there. Now, if you want to watch one of my favorite Henenlotter films, Brain Damage, that you can find. You don't even need Shudder. It's on Amazon. It's on Tubi. That one's about an unwary teenager who falls into a deadly relationship with a centuries-old parasite that thrives on what? If you guess human brains, you're correct. Now, they may sound crazy. And I know Henenlotter's been critical of his own films, such as Basket Case 3. But there's more going on there than just up here. There's the absurdity of it. I mean, specifically when we're talking about Frankenhooker, there's the absurdity of he's trying to reassemble his girlfriend, a decapitated girlfriend, from body parts. But there's something really smart. It's not like it's a metaphor on society. It's zany. It's farce. It's a send-up of mad scientist films from the 50s, 60s, 40s, 70s, 80s. These things are meant to be funny. They're meant to laugh. We're meant to laugh at this film. The things that she said after she becomes the Frankenhooker are all things that the hookers previously said. The fact that he uses some sort of drill to get up there to release the pressure in his brain is meant to be funny. These movies are fun. I can't recommend Basket Case, Frankenhooker, and Brain Damage enough. Get out there and check out the work of Frank Henenlotter. There's also a few more movies he did, but those are the three. Those are the three I really want you to check out. Now, if you're offended easily, for example, if trauma is not your cup of tea, then this may not be for you. But however, I like them. Patty, you are invited on Bonehead Weekly anytime you want to come on. Love to talk to you about your career. Yes, that was a cheap, shameless plug. So thanks again, Scarefest. Stay classy out there. Hold it together. 2021 can't be much worse, can it? This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.
And Chad, over to you.
Bev, I'm always curious when I talk to people with gifts like yours, exactly what their journey was. How did you discover it, and how long have you known about it and been practicing?
Well, for years, I always knew the bigger picture of things. Like I could be in a business meeting and they'd be talking about something and I think that's not really what they're saying. What they're really saying is blah, blah, blah. And I thought I just had this unique ability to see through people's bullshit, basically, to what the bigger picture was. But then I realized I was getting things that weren't necessarily like that. I was getting direct answers to questions. So I could do this, but I couldn't control it. I could hear these voices, see these things, know these things. Claircognizant means you know without knowing how you know, and I'm claircognizant. And clairaudient, which means you hear voices or things, and then all those other clairs. But anyway, I decided that after I retired from business and politics, that I was going to find a way to control it so that I could utilize it better. And I tried all kinds of ways. You know, I tried cards, I tried this, nothing worked. I couldn't turn it on and off. And a reader that I go to, someone I consider a mentor, said, it's in your hands. And I'm thinking, in my hands. So I tried palmistry, and that was not the answer. And then I realized that my entire life I've been a doodler. In school, the only way I learned was if I was doodling and not really listening to the teacher. At work, my boss said, you'd be a great employee if I didn't spend so much on yellow pads for all this doodling. And so I finally realized when I doodle, when I draw, it clears a channel for the information to come in. So I started doing that professionally, openly. Had to get out of politics before I could do it too openly. And then I learned how to finesse it by meditation and being told by those that I hear and talk to how to connect, where to connect, when to connect. So now I'm in control of it, and I can turn it on and off when I want to. And I, as long as it helps people, I'll do it. The day it quits helping people, I'll stop. It's just about that simple. But doodling is my key. Now, my theory is that as I doodle, I keep one side of my brain busy so that the other side of my brain can get the information. Because the pineal gland right in the center of our brain is where that information comes in, if that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? All that?
Absolutely.
You got the short version.
So you said you're claircognizant?
Mm-hmm. That just means...
Oh, go ahead. Oh, please.
It just means that you know things, and there's no way of knowing them. It's a way of discerning thoughts and determining what are your thoughts and what are the thoughts that are actually information for you. And that just takes some practice.
How did you kind of, I guess what I'm asking is you started discovering your gift and practicing it. How did you try to transition from that for you personally to sharing your gift?
Well,
was there a path or?
Well, I just, I had a lot of other readers who would read me, and they say, you've got to start doing this. They're saying, you've got to start doing this. It's your job. And so we were setting up the old Mystical Fair, Patty Starr's Mystical Fair. We had a booth there called Om Sweet Om that sold jewelry and such. And one day I just walked up to Patty and I said, I need to rent a booth for tomorrow. I'm going to start reading. And she said, what? And I said, yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I won't charge anybody if it doesn't. And I just took that step and had faith that it was going to work. And I've been doing it ever since. And have honed it somewhat.
Yeah. Let me toss it back over to Wes. I think we got a commercial coming up shortly, but thank you.
Thank you.
And okay, this whole excuse me, I'm still trying to work my mind around this whole manifestation thing. But like I said, I'm working on it. I've decided to do my little cheat to create you might call it a day-long meditation. But you mentioned a little bit about the lesson from COVID. That's kind of where you and I left it at. I am going to have to go public now, and everybody, I have to I owe Mark over at Akashic Awareness an apology, and that's because the last MetaMen thing we did together, he brought up about my thing is I do believe some people are evil. So we were talking about Hitler, and he was talking about, Hitler was here to teach us a lesson. And my thing is, no, he's going to hell. He's an evil person. The lady that you set, booked me for, the new mystical TV show coming up, Rose Campbell. She actually convinced me. For the record though, she worded it much better than Mark did. But she's actually convinced me that these major historical events, as terrible as they may be, are actually a part of a greater universal plan. And although we as human beings hit glitches along the way, and not everybody gets the message and everything, that there are lessons to be taken away. Now,
everything.
Yes, and I agree with that 100% on this whole COVID mess and the social isolation and the social media. We'll just call it a war at this point. But as you point out, you know, what do we do with that? How do we? It's kind of like with what you said with 65%. If we can get a big enough bunch of people just to say, no, there's no. Now, here's an interesting question. When we say that, though, there is no COVID. There is no COVID. But then the people right now that are saying there is no COVID are pariahs. And
right.
for good reason. So yeah, so how do we make those steps? I mean, in your mind, in your opinion, how do we get from don't go outside without a mask? Brisbane, Australia wants you to wear your mask when you're driving.
They're crazy.
Well,
you don't have to wear it when
there
you're
goes
driving,
my Australian audience.
Unless you're driving a bus, you know.
No, they literally, if you leave your house, that's how tightly they lock down.
Well, so one thing, you don't say there is no COVID to make it a reality, because obviously there is. What you say is, thank you that COVID is leaving here soon. Thank you that COVID is gone. Thank you that COVID will be gone by March. That would be the way you do it.
Okay.
I mean, in reality, it's here. You know, there's no denying there is this thing. So you have to find the point at which it's realistic. You have to give the universe tools to work with. You know, they'd have to go back in time to be no COVID. So instead, you're finding a point in time that can shift, and that point in time would be thanks that COVID's gone by March. You know, now let me tell you why you say thank you, if we've got a second.
No, yeah.
Anytime you're trying to manifest something, and this is for your manifest list, okay? You always, when you're talking to the universe, God, angels, guardians, whatever we're talking to out there, I use those words because people can relate to those words. I don't know what they are, but they're very nice and they're very helpful. You say thank you at the beginning of what you're wanting to manifest, because out there, they don't use words so much. Everything is vibration and tone. Everything's an energetic pattern. So if you say, hey, we want COVID gone, they're like, we're not quite sure what they're saying. We'll have to figure it out. If you say thank you, that's a resonance. That resonates an emotion, and they read that emotion instantly. They read emotions, not words. So if you start a sentence with thank you, you're going to get their attention quickly. The second part of that is you always say what it is you're wanting as though you already have it. And the reason for that is because if you're asking for something you don't have, you're just going to get the not having it. So you're saying, thank you that Scarefest is going to have, thank you that Scarefest has 20,000 people coming in 2021. And what they hear is, oh, okay, we're glad that you're grateful for this. And if you're grateful for it, sure, we can hook that up. So you say it like it's already happened. Because what that tells, whenever you say something like you already have it, it also evokes an emotion. You evoke the feeling of what it feels like to have that. And that's what they read. Words don't work so much for them. Does that make sense? Everything's vibration, energy, tone.
That does make
sense. We're going to find some tonal healing that's going to rock this world before long. Vibration and tone is going to be the tool.
And I'm just going to say that my little meditation sheet is based on the words thank you. So anyway, everybody, we're going to take our next commercial break. Bev is going to leave us for the second half of the show to get ready to take your questions in our Zoom Psychic Universe question gallery. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/scarefestradio, subscribe, and as soon as you subscribe, you have access to today's post, which will have the top secret password to get into the Zoom meeting at zoom.us, or you can just click the link and it takes you right there. 10 o'clock.
And
look for you
come.
there.
I'm sorry. Come with as many questions as you want. We'll take as many as we can take in that time. So have more than one question in case there's time for more than one question.
And I will not hog the thing because I have one question. That's all I'm bringing with me. So everybody else, you can ask.
We'll see what they say.
we'll get to everybody else real good. Everybody will be back with more after this commercial break, and we have a celebrity announcement.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping.
Come visit the Universal Energy Expo, May 1st and 2nd at the Northern Kentucky Convention Center. Meet special guests, Shaman Coyote Chris Sutton and Psychic Southern Gypsies. Over 100 readers, healers, and vendors. Admission also includes door prizes, workshops, and all seminars. The Universal Energy Expo. Come curious, leave enlightened.
Horror movie history this week looks back at 1993 with the release of B-movie cult classic Leprechaun. This film is about a vengeful leprechaun that believes a family has stolen his pot of gold, and he hunts them down one by one as they try to find his gold to stop him. Leprechaun is known as being one of the worst movies in history, but despite the cheesy acting, horrible special effects, and over-the-top, bad one-liners, Leprechaun is widely popular and will definitely give you a good laugh. Leprechaun was also the first lead acting role for actress Jennifer Aniston, and undoubtedly helped her on her way to becoming a household name. Maybe that little evil bastard was lucky after all.
And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. Now we have a special treat for you. We got to do our business, but we're going to start off our business with a celebrity announcement. Someone that was booked for 2020 and has signed up to come in 2021. I am looking forward to talking to this lady, Linnea Quigley. I got her. I don't remember her movies, and I can't read that small. But I watched one of hers, just the Bolorama thing. I watched that like a week ago. Anyway, the Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Demon, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and what's her Bolorama? Slime bag, slime ball, Bolorama. Anyway, it was fun. Now the cool thing about being able to announce her tonight is next week I get to talk to her on the air. She is booked for next week, and she's apparently does not have a phobia about doing a podcast. So we're looking forward to meeting her. Tonight's after party. Everybody, tonight's after party. Don't forget, Bev McChesney will be doing our after party. She's doing a Messages from the Universe Gallery via Zoom. go to patreon.com/ScarefestRadio. Join us and get the link to join tonight at 10 o'clock, as soon as the show's over. Coming back this Monday, my old workhorse, Paranormal Filler, the show that made me what I am today, second-rate podcast host, is coming back. Paranormal Filler Encore premieres this coming Monday. Episode 1 with Connor Biddle and India Hopwood from Paranormal Encounters. To play the home version, pull it up on Amazon Prime. It's free to Prime members, but I watched a little bit of it and really like these two. So they were my first guest. Coming up, it'll be available by audio to anybody that wants to listen. If you want to see the video, though, you got to be a Patreon subscriber. Coming up the week after that, I don't have it edited yet, but it's in the can, Mystical TV, and my guest will be Rose Campbell, who is a channeler. She channels spirits, and she was a fascinating woman to talk to. I don't say that often that I learn stuff from people, but I think with her, I actually learned some stuff. And then I also should mention that the Scarefest gift shop is now open. Go to scarefestradio.com, click gift shop. You'll find some 2020 Lost Year swag. You'll find a little bit of Scarefest Radio swag, but I'm actually going to go pick up some more Scarefest Radio swag this weekend. We should have some t-shirts left. We should have the other colored hat, if I'm not mistaken. And somewhere, there's a whole bunch of Scarefest and Scarefest Radio surgical mask to get us through this. Nobody has seen them. I'm hoping they're in the boxes somewhere. Bring us back up there. Also, I should mention, speaker applications are at thescarefest.com. Go to thescarefest.com, click apply to be a speaker. Applications are online. And they have also started taking volunteer applications for Scarefest 2021. I don't have them on the website yet, but if you're already in the staff group, they should have already had the link up there. I don't know if they put it anywhere else on Facebook, but be watching for that. If you want to volunteer and be a part of the Scarefest, and you don't have time to stand around 4 or 5 years like I did and wait for them to give you a job, if you just want to claim a job.
Even if you don't want to volunteer, do it anyway.
Yeah, what the hell? It's we actually do need some volunteers this year, because this whole thing where we're going to be streaming the convention. Now, people, if you've not been playing the home game and you've not been paying attention, we're going to have our physical convention. We don't see anything that's going to stop us. There might be some glitches as far as how many people they let in the building, whether you have to wear a gas mask or not, that type stuff. But we are going to try, for people that are not comfortable coming out or don't live in the eastern half of the United States, although you used to have a lady that came from Australia every year, so screw you. Anyway, in other words, you can make the trip, people. But if you don't want to make the trip, we get it. We're going to stream the entire convention. And, of course, it won't be everything at one time, because we don't have 500 volunteers to walk around with cell phones all day. But anyway, so we have big plans for that. We're going to be working that out over the next couple of months. The incredibly difficult logistics involved. And that will be going on our artfarm.tv platform. So, there's the business. Now, Chad and I, in preparation for the guest that never was, we both watched Frankenhooker. I also watched Doom Asylum. So, Chad, you did not give Frankenhooker the glowing review that both Joe and I did. Joe Lewis and I. What did you not like about Frankenhooker?
It was, I think the pacing was a little off for me. I will say I did enjoy some of the practical effects.
See, the pacing, you got to look at. I realize it's not a scream a minute, but if you look at it for the genre and the time that it was pretty good. It was everybody, if you've not seen it, it's one of those movies that is funny, but doesn't act like it knows it's funny. In other words, the acting is all there's no spring sound effects. That's my objection to movies that try too hard to be funny. That doing, you know, and the woo woo, you know, the sound effects in the background. But no, it takes itself seriously, except it's written well enough and funny enough. And so I'm kind of with Joe on this. I'm not saying it's one of my favorites, although I liked it a hell of a lot better than Basket Case. Have you seen that?
I don't think I've seen that one.
You need to watch it. I watched Basket Case because it was recommended by the 100 worst movies of all time list that I found on Prime. And so I just wanted to go through and see. I said, that has to be something. And sure enough, every horror movie on it was a classic. But Basket Case, I wasn't a fan. I saw its appeal because for the time it came out, it was kind of avant-garde, a little shocking. And he is right. This movie kind of follows a similar theme. And the girlfriend, I don't think it's any great spoiler to say, the girlfriend gets mangled by a lawnmower. And when I say mangled, I mean as in pick up the parts of police. A classic scene, Chad. Now, when the police are standing there counting the parts and going, you got to admit, that's funny. That's
yeah. Like I said, there were parts, but I thought too much of it was focused on the angsty doctor instead of the monster.
Now, actually, I agree with that. I do agree with that.
They tried to play that funny, but it really came across as angsty to me as far as the doctor portion. Like I said, any good Frankenstein movie or knockoff of a Frankenstein movie, it's the monster that you're interested in, not Dr. Frankenstein's tortured psyche.
I will say that this is a minor spoiler because people now will be watching for it if they haven't seen the movie. The exploding hookers caught me off guard. That wasn't how I expected that to play out, even though it was foreshadowed.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think you're right though. I think if the Frankenhooker character had come into play sooner, in other words, the dialogue had been shifted a little bit, I think you are correct. I think it would have been an even better movie.
And for lack of a better term, the mini monsters that are throughout the movie, I thought those were wonderful. The effects on that was great.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen more from that. I'd have liked to build on that.
Well, that was kind of the big finish. So you can only devote so long to your big finish. Otherwise, you're getting into a Stephen King novel. Everybody, we're going to take another commercial break now. We'll be right back, and I'll talk a little bit about her other movie that I watched, Doom Asylum, just because I've already watched it and I don't want to waste my time. Everybody, we'll be right back with more Scarefest Television.
Mama Ruby offers fun vendor-based events that focus primarily on the metaphysical and spiritual aspects of our lives. Well, 2020 didn't go as planned, to say the least. Since Mama Ruby's can't bring the vendors to you in person, they still encourage you to support them online. For links to these and other outstanding artists, craftspeople, vendors, and psychics, visit mamarubies.com and click shop.
TellMeTarot.com. Rare tarot and oracle decks for the discerning enthusiast or collector. Our decks are not for everyone. If you are a rare deck collector, art collector, or simply fall in love with a deck, then we might be for you. Right now, get 10% off your first order just for subscribing to their newsletter. Shipping is just $5.99 in the United States. TellMeTarot.com.
The quiet and unassuming home at 8213 West Summerdale Avenue in Chicago was like any other, until this week back in 1972 when 16-year-old Timothy McCoy met his gruesome end within its walls. Timothy was on his way home to Nebraska from Michigan when his bus had a delay in Chicago, and that is where he met John Wayne Gacy, who offered the young boy a place to sleep. Gacy was only a sex offender up to this point, but would later confess that killing Timothy made him realize death was his ultimate thrill. Over the next 6 years, Gacy would take the lives of 33 more young men and bury most of the bodies under his home. The home has since been torn down, but its true history will never be forgotten. And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. Mr. Chad Harlan and I are sitting here discussing the Patty Mullen movies that was one he watched. I watched 2 of them. And Patty, of course, everybody, could not be here tonight. And I'm actually thinking it's because she was afraid of my raw sexuality, Chad.
Or whatever else you might be carrying that might be contagious.
The other movie I watched was Doom Asylum. Now, Doom Asylum, this director that I think he did both of them. I think that's what Joe said. The practical effects were good in Doom Asylum. That being said, the movie, and when I watched it, I posted this on Facebook, so I couldn't back out of it even if she showed up. It was like it was written on a cocktail napkin. The dialogue was not there. If they did anything funny, they felt it necessary to do the little boing sound effect and that kind of stuff. But it to me, and now somebody was arguing with me on it on Facebook, not like politics arguing, but it if the dialogue had been better, if it had been more like Frankenhooker, if the dialogue had been better and it was everything was kept a little tighter, that would be one of the movies we talk about when we talk about classic 80s and early 90s horror movies. It was the story was actually pretty good. The premise, let me see how I can word this. A guy and his girlfriend who is incidentally dumping her child and taking off to run off with the lawyer that won her this big settlement. The woman, they die in a car crash, or she dies in a car crash. He survives just barely. And incidentally, the scene from where the last time we see him at the car crash and him as the protagonist of the film later, apparently some shit went down between the car crash and the operating room. So, but then, basically, her daughter just happens to show up where he's at, and she's a spitting image. Incidentally, Patty's a pretty good actress. She's playing these corny parts, and I did not realize it was her until I looked it up on IMDb a few minutes in, because she played the 2 parts very differently, even though she, obviously looked the same, but I'm old and have bad eyesight. So,
I thought in Frankenhooker she played the part well. She had good comic timing.
Yeah, she took what she had to work with, and I think that's about the most you're going to make of it. She's still famous for the facial expression. If you Google image searcher, most of the fan shot, it's another one of those Felissa Rose things where, she's looking up and doing the scream thing, with less the penis. That's, she's the sideways glitch, I would call it. So yeah, that it obviously is something that sticks in people's minds, and yeah, it was a good little part of the movie. So we've told everybody that volunteer applications are just about ready. They're, like I said, they're online technically, but we don't have links to them right here. The speaker applications. Are you going to apply to speak this year, Chad?
I'm withholding judgment on that right now. We'll see how many we get. I've spoke a couple of years, and I like to leave it open for anybody new to show up. But
right, absolutely.
And if I come up with a new topic, I may put something in. But I certainly enjoy speaking. Anybody out there that's thinking about it, I highly recommend it. It's always a great experience. So it's a lot of fun, and always have a good crowd. So
and I talked about this when we first talked about the speaker applications. If you're interested in being a speaker, now I'm going to give everybody a heads up. We don't know what stage of development the convention center is going to be in October. The only thing they've really told us is the convention hall itself will be done. Any of the adjacent things, like seminar rooms, for example, they're not sticking their neck out. So our plan is to have the seminars in the new sports bar complex across the street, which has a big theater complex in it. And so we're going to get one or two of those theaters, and we're planning on wanting one set of seminars all weekend. So it used to be you'd go in and there'd be like 4 or 5 seminars at a time. Invariably, I would, if I was attending, there'd be 2 that I wanted to go to. But most of the time what would happen is, when I was speaking there, they would put me up against somebody like
Kim Russo.
Kim Russo, perfect example. Made me go up against Kim Russo, who incidentally, if they had given me the choice, I would have rather been in hers too. So that won't be going on. It looks like no matter what, we'll just have one spot. Once again, good exposure though, because even if the people don't cross the street to see your seminar, it's going to be streamed worldwide via the WWW, World Wide Web. We will be streaming that shit. And so got that going on. And everybody that was here for Bev's part of the show, we all need to thank your deity. Thank your deity, whether it's God, Buddha, the universe, however you want to put it. Thank it. Thank the universe for us having such a great, successful Scarefest 2021.
Absolutely. I can't wait for it. I think we're all really excited. I think it is going to be a big one this year because everybody's anxious to get out of the house.
That's what Brandon was wondering about. We were talking about that, and he was worried. He's still worried about how many people will absolutely just, I'm not leaving my couch. No. I think the pent-up demand for these conventions, once we all get to open up, and I'm not just talking about Scarefest people, I'm talking about Comic-Con, all Horror Hound, all of them. I wish everybody luck. I hope the sooner we can start opening up, I think people have such pent-up energy and demand to just get out and be around their friends and those people you only see once a year. That's what I love about Scarefest. Eric Morrison, I'm going to give him a shout out on the air. He's from, he manages a page that has an ad on here, Horror Movie Fans for Life. Horror Movie Fans for Life on Facebook at Horror Movie Fans for the number 4 Life. But I only get to see him once a year. He does a couple, 3 conventions a year. They're never the ones I get to go to, but he comes to Scarefest, and that's where we met. Actually met via the show in the chat room. But God bless his heart, he's a hell of a fun guy to hang around with, and he buys me drinks.
So that's the most important thing.
that might move you up the corporate ladder, Chad. Yeah.
I think what we need to do, if nothing else, is put a vaccination site right at the entrance, so we can just give people shots as they go in.
You know, I heard on TV today that Vice President-elect Biden is coming up with this plan that's going to get the vaccines out to us all faster. I saw the most brilliant suggestion ever on Facebook. If we would turn it over to Amazon, everybody would be vaccinated by the end of February, and if you have Prime, probably the 15th.
Or Chick-fil-A. They move that drive-through fast. You just line them up.
I guarantee they'd be just driving by and poking people in the arm. Everybody, this has been Scarefest Television. We got a little treat for you on the way out. Breaking the news. We didn't have room for it in the other blocks. I threw it at the end of the show. Stick around for breaking the news. Then I hope that you will come see us via Zoom. Go to patreon.com/ScarefestRadio. Man, witches be crazy up in here. Neil Marshall, director of The Descent, has unveiled his new movie, a creepy dive into the 17th century witch hunts called The Reckoning. The film will follow a young widow accused of witchcraft in a society consumed by death and superstition as the devil whispers in her mind. Or does he? Witch, please. Yippee-ki-yay, monster lovers! Bruce Willis is back with a new horror sci-fi movie called Breach. On an interstellar ship leaving a plague-ravaged Earth, Bruce and his teammates face a shape-shifting alien out to kill them all. Breach is what happens when the Thing has a baby with Alien with a dash of Die Hard thrown in. Hilarity ensues.